How's it going? My name is Rosendo from MLH. You just caught me staring up to the right side corner of my screen, but it's all good. I hope y'all are enjoying Global Hack Week so far. We've got some great content getting basically ready for y'all. And yeah, today we've got another workshop from Snowflake. It's going to be great. Let us know if you enjoyed the previous workshop with Dr. Cecilia. I'm sure that y'all had a great time. I'm sure some of y'all are also getting through the ad block. So let me know once you do hit the chat that you are here, and let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're joining from. Let us know how you're enjoying Global Hack Week so far. Honestly, like I'm really excited to get this kicked off. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring Rita up from Snowflake over to the stage. So please provide a warm round of applause. At home, obviously, you won't be able to hear it. But one last thing, actually, before I do that, make sure you do check in and register. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that link into chat for y'all, and yeah, do that. And yeah, this is Rosendo. I'll be in the background. Here comes Rita. Enjoy the workshop.
Thanks, Rosendo. Hey, everybody. My name is Rita. I'm from Snowflake. Welcome. Welcome back. If this is your second Snowflake workshop, I think the first one was recorded, so you'll be able to watch that. Let me know if you attended the first one with Anna and what you thought, and we're excited to have you back. Otherwise, if this is your first one, welcome. We will today get started with Snowflake Notebooks. So Snowflake Notebooks, very cool feature. It's internal notebooks that are embedded in Snowflake accounts. You can write queries right in the cells there. You can run the queries, interact with your data. Very, very cool feature. And we will create a Snowflake account too, and I'll walk you through that. Let us know, as Rosendo mentioned, where you're tuning in from. I'm in the Bay Area in California, so still morning here. So good evening to anyone tuning in from anywhere else in the world. So let us know, and then we will get started. Let me share my screen. All right. Can anyone see that? We also have Anna, who was here from the earlier workshop. She'll be answering questions in the chat, so let her know if you're having any issues. Rosendo will be there too. We'll be sharing some links. So can everyone see my screen here? Give it a second. All right, and assume yes. No news is good news. All right. So we're going to get started with creating a Snowflake account. Rosendo and Anna, if you could drop this link into the chat. So this actually will give you access to 120 days. It's a student version of our trial account. So usually we have 30 days if you go to our website and you can sign up there. But this link is very special. You'll get $400 of credits and 120 days to explore and continue learning on Snowflake. So let's get started here. I'll create an account with you all. So you just enter your first and last name. You can enter your work email, your personal email, it doesn't matter. And then why am I signing up? I'm exploring. All right. Well, MLH at the school, you can buy anything there. Just keep the standard edition for Enterprise. Enterprise actually has a few more features like time travel, so you can explore those. And then keep that there. And then we'll use AWS as our cloud provider. And then the region, I'm using US West Oregon. That has most of the features that we're going to be using today. So go ahead and click that. Then clicks. There you go. Well, I have to find the chimneys. All right. I'm going to skip this as well for now. Then I'll go to my inbox and I will grab the link. So I'll pause there, make sure that everyone's getting up to speed. And then when you go to your email, I have it in a separate browser here, but if you go to your email, there'll be a click to activate button. So go ahead and click that. And then create a new account. Oh, I think this is in a different window. Let me copy over the link. Sorry, Rosendo, I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to reshare so that I can share this. Okay. All right, there we go. Then you'll do click to activate. I have a couple other accounts here, so I will just put Rita Workshop. And then I have a password generator, so I'll use that. I'll save it and get started. All right. You can select AWS West Oregon. Should be fine. And you can skip here, and then I'll wait a couple of minutes here, make sure everyone's good to go. If you have any questions, let us know in the chat. All right. Ready to go. So now we'll go to our GitHub repo. So Rosendo shared this link as well. I will go to it. So this is the GitHub repo link. And it's there, it's in the chat, it's on the screen as well. So feel free to click that. So once you're there, I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can see up here in this corner, you can do download the raw file. So you just click that, it'll download to your machine. I already have it downloaded, but one thing to point out here is that whenever you upload this file, make sure that if you download it multiple times, you don't have this one right here. It sometimes spits back an error. So just make sure that it's just an initial naming convention if you download it multiple times. All right, everyone good there? Okay. So now we'll go over to Snowflake. I'll do a quick walkthrough of the UI. So this is Snowsight. So this is our interface that we use. Lots of really cool things here. You can create SQL worksheets, Python worksheets, notebooks, which we'll create today. We'll also create a SQL worksheet to start out. Streamlit apps, for those of you that are not familiar with Streamlit, you can do interactive apps with just lines of code. Very, very cool feature. You can use Python for that. And then we have dashboards, charts, a whole bunch of different cool things. So, and then in this panel, in this pane right here, you can see all the different things. So your projects would be the things that you're working on. So you can have your worksheets, notebooks, any Streamlit apps that you would have, dashboards, data. Whenever you're uploading data into this, you do this add data feature. You can load files into a stage, into a table, from an S3 bucket. And then our different data products. So we're actually going to be exploring the marketplace today. So our marketplace is basically, there's paid and unpaid data sets in here that you can import into Snowsight, and then you can query off of those. So we're going to leverage that when we do a notebook today. And then there's some cool AI and ML features. I'll actually cover one of these at the end, which is a chat assistant. It's called Snowflake Copilot. So I'll show you a little bit about that too. All right, so getting started here. Let's create a SQL worksheet. And then in this worksheet, you're going to copy and paste this right here. So you're going to use the role. You have to define what role you want to use, the warehouse, the database, and the schema. This is important for when we upload our notebook. So just make sure that you create all of this. If you don't have this created, you don't really have anywhere to upload your notebook to. So just make sure that you do that. And then I will provide this. So Rosendo and Anna. Go a little bigger. How's that? Rosendo and Anna can share that. I just dropped that in the chat as well. So that is what you'll do. And then this is really important. You need to make sure that you run all, because if you try to do just this last one, you're going to get an error. So what you do, there's two ways you can do this. You can do Command A or Control A, depending on if you're on a Mac or a PC, and then hit Command Enter or Control Enter, and it will run those 4 out of 4. Or you'll go right here and you'll hit Run All. Just make sure you run all of them so that all of these steps are completed. All right. Any questions there? Great. So now we will move over into creating our notebook. So I usually like to open this in a new tab just to have the different tabs available to me. Being open in the same one shouldn't be a problem. It's the same account. So this is where that file that we downloaded earlier, the IPYNB file, that is where it's going to come in handy. So you're going to go here and you're going to do import. That's the naming convention we had for the file. And you're going to go ahead and import that file. So we created what we did in SQL because right now, for some of you, what you may have seen is that there would be no database that would be specified here. You have to specify a database, a warehouse, a schema to make sure that you can upload. If you're getting an error, maybe try a new SQL worksheet, just run all of this again. Whenever you're in the right database and in the right schema, you're going to see this right here. That's how you know that it was created and that's what's being used. And so this is where it'll tie in when you upload your file. I think, Priyanka, this was your question. So I'm going to go to that file, the Start Here file that we just downloaded. And then this is where it comes in handy. So this is where we created this database, workshop, and then our schema was HOL. Our warehouse was notebooks demo, and then you'll run on the warehouse and hit create. Make sure that you do all of these because you're gonna need to provide access to this. So just make sure that you do it correctly, and then just hit create, and it will create your notebook. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit, but let me know if you have any issues with the font, just so that we can take a look at this. Taking too much time to import. Hopefully, might just be, maybe give it a couple of seconds. If anything, just refresh and try again. All right, how are we doing? All right. Hopefully everyone is caught up here. Ask questions in the chat. We're here to help you out. So from here, this is where you can see. So if you look at the actual file that we downloaded, so this is the notebook file. If you see for each of these, there is a cell type markdown and a cell type code. So whenever you do this and you see this here, this is what's called a markdown cell, and this is what's called a code cell. So basically what we did is in that file, all of this was configured so that it would import into this. And so it would have step-by-step, and then it shows you everything that you need to do. You can run all of these cells. I would not do that right now because there is a step that we need to do to import data from the marketplace. So we'll do them one by one, and then I'll explain what each of these are. We could go back really quick to the first set. So these are the commands here. We can just redrop those in the chat if that's helpful. Just make sure you do these and then make sure either you highlight all of them and hit this button or click run all. That's really important. All right. I think Rosendo just dropped the code right above your comment in the chat. All right. Everyone good there? Okay, great. Looks like it's working. So we'll go over here to our notebook. So this notebook is pretty cool in that each cell will do a different thing. So this first step that we're going to have, we're going to define what role we need to use. And then we will then make sure that we're defining the role that we need to use for the account and then the specific role. So in this specific notebook, we are going to be using this demo role. This is important because when we grant access to the data that we're going to get from the marketplace, we need to give access to this demo role. Granting it to sysadmin as well, which is what we're using. Giving all of these permissions to it. So ability to create tasks, manage tasks, all the privileges to the database, making sure that the database has everything that it needs. And then this last step here is very interesting because this is very specific to Snowflake, is that the demo warehouse. So there's different sizes of warehouses that we have. We have extra small, and I believe we go to XXL, depending on how much compute. So we're not doing that much in this, so extra small will be fine here. You can change your warehouse. I'll go back and show you where you can do that. And then auto suspend, just to make sure that you don't keep running credits if this is running in the background. We have it to auto suspend, I believe, in, I think this is 300 seconds or minutes. And then auto resume, it'll auto resume whenever you go back and you click into the any of the sheets, then it'll auto resume and turn the warehouse back on. And then it is again granting that access to demo role, which is the role that we're going to be using here. All right. So let's go ahead and run this first cell. So hit this play button right here and you'll run this cell only. Fingers crossed. Taking a little bit of time here. There we go. And then you'll see in this little corner right here, whenever something is running, this is moving in progress. When it's green, it is done successfully. Whenever you do a run all, if you ran this entire notebook right now, it would error out because we haven't downloaded some of the data. So when you do that, then it would give you a red bar next to it. So right here, even it's telling you statement executed successfully. So that means you've created the warehouse, you've created the database, everything is ready to go. You've provided all the access. And now what we'll do is tell this notebook that this is the database, everything that we created. Now we would like to use it. So then you'll go and you'll run this cell. And again, executed successfully. I'm going to pause there for a second, make sure everyone's caught up. All right. I think we're all good there. Okay, this next part. This is very cool. This is where we're going to load in data from the marketplace. So like I mentioned earlier, the marketplace has a bunch of data contributors. It's free or it's paid data. You can download that data into your Snowflake account. You can query off of it. You can create charts, insights, analysis, everything that you want to do with that data, and it's all available for you. So what we'll do here, and these instructions are important, so I'm going to reference back to these, and I usually like to open this up in a separate tab. So we'll open up, you'll go into this pane right here. You'll see this cloud button. And then you will click Marketplace. All right. And we haven't loaded any tables or data yet. We've just defined and let it know that, hey, this is the database that we need to use and the schema that we need to use. And now the next step is loading the data. So now it knows that this is where we want it, where we want the data to go. So we're going to go to the marketplace and reference back to these instructions because I do think that they're very important. So you're going to go to here, marketplace, and you are going to search for, let's type Weather Source LLC. And we are going to get the data. Let's see, what is it called? Frostbite weather source. Actually, I'm going to search for frostbite weather source. Sorry. All right. So search for frostbite weather source, and you're going to click this first one, which is Weather Source LLC Frostbite. This is the data set that we're going to use. This global weather and climate data. It has a whole bunch of different columns in it. Talks about like different postal codes, the forecast, precipitation, forecast history, all of that. It does it. There's some country data as well in here. All right, so we'll click on that. And then this, if you get stuck in this step, the instructions are again in this notebook. So make sure that you follow this. The two most important things here is that we need to name the database Frostbite weather source. This is really important because if you don't do this correctly, then one of the queries later will fail. And then you're going to grant the role demo role, which was the role that we created above. So sometimes for some reason, when I copy from here, it doesn't work. So I always just copy from down here. All right, so I'm gonna go here, hit get, and then this is where we're gonna do that. So change the database name to Frostbite weather underscore weather source, all caps. The notation is really important there. And then in addition to account admin, we need to give access to this role to demo role, which is what we're using for our notebook. And then you will hit, I'll stay on the screen for a second so that everyone can follow along. Thank you, Anna. And then specify it to demo role, hit get. And now if you hit this query data button, you can actually query this data. So there's a bunch of sample queries in here. We can come back and do this later, but you can just keep this open and we'll go back to our notebook. So this cell we're not going to run here. If you didn't want to do it through the marketplace, what you could do is run it through a SQL query to get the data. And this is the query that you would use in a SQL worksheet. I think it's a little bit easier to do it through the marketplace because it's just a couple of clicks. On this, you have to specify your account details and everything in here. So, and your identifier and all of those things. So it's a little bit easier to just do it through the marketplace, but there is this option that's available to load the data. So now that your data is successfully loaded, we can query it. So I will run this cell right here. And it shows you. So these are the different postal codes, city names, and then the countries. And we put a limit of 100 rows on here. So that's how you can see this data. So what you could do is you could change this query. You could add into your file in the code area instead of the markdown area. You could add another query there. You can add that to the sheet. You can run the query, or you could run any of these queries that are here. So if we wanted to run on this first one, on this worksheet. So here you can see for the specific postal code on these two dates, what were that? Air was the air temperature, humidity, wind speed, precipitation, all of that. So you could run that with the queries. And then here there's a chart functionality too. So you can specify what you want for the X and Y axis. I think this specific query isn't that great for the chart because it's not really showing anything over time since it's just two dates. But if you wanted to look at weather trends over time, this would be a great one to use, and you can use a visualization aspect to it. And you actually can grant permissions to multiple roles for the same data set. So what we did whenever we downloaded that marketplace data set, it actually provided access to the account admin role, but then also to the demo role. So there's queries that you can run in SQL worksheets that can grant access to it. All right. So that's the piece that is there for the data. So I have a couple other things in here that I wanted to show you all that just shows the capabilities of notebooks, that there's so many different things that you can do with them. So some of you may be familiar with Altair. So Altair is, there's a lot of visualization data. It's a Python visualization library that you can download. So what you can do, it's a very cool aspect with packages here is you can import different packages. So that's what we did here. So Altair is actually one of the packages you can import. You can import pandas, you can do Anaconda. There's so many different things. And once you import those packages, either you could do it here. I have a query that's going to import. And then otherwise, I could just find it here and do it there as well. So let's import pandas and then also Altair. And then we're going to do is we're creating a sample data frame and then a chart to show that data. So it's very cool because here we're just specifying, okay, this is the data frame that we have. These are different flower species, and then we're looking at the measurements for them. So I believe this is in inches, all the different measurements. And then we want it to actually graph it out for us and show it to us as a chart. And so you can put this is a SQL query. You put this in here and then you hit play and it shows you a chart within the cell in notebooks. That's a really cool feature. So here you see all the different measurements for the different species. So that's a really cool thing there. So that's the libraries. And then now Streamlit. So some of you may also have been in Anna's session earlier where we talked a little bit about Streamlit. So Streamlit is actually, it is open source and a lot of people can create applications through simplified lines of code on it. And Streamlit was acquired by Snowflake a few years ago, but there's still a very independent Streamlit community. You can still create apps. Like I mentioned here, there's a Streamlit integration with Snowflake as well. And then you can actually bring Streamlit into notebooks. So here, this cell here, we'll talk about how you can bring in an image through Streamlit. And this is just an image that we have housed on snowflake.com. So this is a public image. And what it's doing is importing that image here. And there it is in the cell. So it's very cool. So you can bring in different images. You can also bring in GIFs, I don't know what you call them, whatever your naming preference of choices. And then you can bring this in. Again, this is from a public website, so it doesn't even have to be from snowflake.com. And you bring this in here. So this is very cool. Yeah.
Sorry, while you do that, sorry to pop in on you. Could you just zoom in a little bit more for the folks at
Yes,
home?
I'm so sorry.
No
All right.
worries. Thank you.
How's that?
Looks good on my end.
Good. All right. So here, this is where you can see the image, and it's again in this cell. All right. And then this last piece, so you can create a mini Streamlit app. So Streamlit app's very cool feature to explore in Snowflake. So you can create your own mini Streamlit app. So again, you import Streamlit into it. Again, you would find that there is a package for it as well. I already have it imported. So you import Streamlit here, and then it'll create an app. So I will actually show you this. So when you run the cell, this is the actual interactive app. And so the interactive piece of this is cool. You're just adjusting means and standard deviations that were fed into this. We fed 3 different means and 3 different standard deviations. And then as you move them, you'll see the numbers down here are going to start changing. So that's the interactive component. You can just toggle these around. So very cool feature there. So the possibilities are endless. You can import the Streamlit apps, you can do images, you can do charts, you can do everything. You can query off of your data, you can get the results. There's different tables. So there's a lot here that you can do with notebooks. You can connect it to your Git repos, do a whole bunch of different things. If you're interested, we actually have a solution center. And so that has just solutions that you can go through and explore and see how to actually build with Snowflake Notebooks. So you have access to this account, you have your 400 credits, so you can keep using it, keep exploring and trying those out. So I mentioned earlier, there was something that we had called Copilot. So I am actually going to switch accounts here and I'm going to go to my account. You actually see this right here, this Ask Copilot account, this button right here, it is in your account. I'm going to switch because I want to show you some data in a different account that I have. All right. So here, this is, I have a sample data set here that is just global climate weather data. And what I can do is I can click Ask Copilot. So Copilot is really cool. It's a chat assistant. So you can ask it any type of questions. It can write you SQL queries. It can improve your queries if you talk to it. It can explore data. You can ask it open-ended questions. You can ask it about Snowflake products and features. So here I could be like, oh, tell me about Streamlit. It's analyzing the prompt. Oh no. Well, this might be because I am doing it based off this specific data set right here. We'll come back to that one. So we'll talk about the specific data here. And let me say, tell me about this data. Hopefully this one is successful. So here it's explaining to you that this is what the database is. These are all the different tables. This is how the data is organized, all of these different things. So if you import a data set and you're like, I don't even know where to start and how to analyze this, but this is the best way to get started with it. And it just tells you about that data. And it's any data that you would upload into a SQL worksheet. So you can ask questions. And then if I wanted it to write a query for me, I could say, which cities had the hottest days? So it's telling me, okay, this is how you're going to do it. It's telling you the logic behind how it comes up with the query, of how it's using this history day table. It's looking at this max temperature, grouping by postal code and country, and it's going to identify the hottest location. And then from that, it spits out a SQL query here. And then when it spits out a query, it'll tell you if it's valid or not. All you have to do is hit run. And now it's executing. And here we go. So it breaks it down by postal codes because there's no cities actually in this database, but it does it by country and by postal code. And it tells you, hey, these are all the highest temperatures, number of days reported that they had these temperatures. So these are the hottest cities. That's a pretty cool feature there. Amazing. So I also mentioned earlier, I think there were a couple questions on warehouses. So I can explore that with you. So here we have a whole bunch of different warehouse sizes. Actually, let me go back to our trial account so that we're all in this together. All right. We can go back to the sheet. So right now we are in an extra small warehouse. So we can change all of this up. You can change it to a larger warehouse. If you go here, you can go to, warehouses. So these are all the different warehouses. You can create a new warehouse, define what type it is, the size, and here it'll tell you how many credits each type of warehouse uses in an hour. Of course, this varies depending on what you're actually doing with the warehouse, but it's just giving you an estimate. And there's also some, again, this is what we talked about, auto resume, auto suspend, multi-cluster warehouses, query acceleration. I think some of these are available on different account levels. So they might not be available on your trial account, but these are all the features on creating new warehouses. And then let's actually go to, mention Streamlit earlier. Let's see if there is a sample script to grant some privileges. So this will tell you all the privileges that you need to grant for a Streamlit app. And then you can do the same thing here where you would just create your Streamlit app. Again, choose your database, the schema, and then you can write the code specifically to do that. All right. Any questions there? Was everyone able to follow along with that? Anything we want to go back to? All right. Well, follow along with us in the future for anything that we have on our Snowflake accounts. This Git repo is available to you publicly. The recording is available publicly as well, so you can complete it on your own. And then if there's any other questions, let us know. And then I can stick around here if there's anyone that's having trouble following along. We can run through some of these steps again. But thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks so much, Rita. Really appreciate it. Also going to wait here and see if anyone else has any questions. You know what? If you have any other questions about like the previous workshop as well, we have the time time and the personnel required to answer those questions if you have them. Another thing that I did want to call out is during Global Hack Week, we are running a ton of really interesting Snowflake challenges for y'all. So if you want to check that out, I'm going to drop the link in chat here. You're just going to go and head over to GHW Cloud 325 Snowflake. And yeah, we're gonna like there are a ton of challenges. Some of them are gonna be actually directly related to the workshops that you watch. So if you're watching this as a recording or you're watching it now, you could definitely check out some of the challenges. Challenge 4 is in particular is going to be there relating to this workshop, and we have a couple of other challenges that are related to the first workshop that you saw as well. If you have any questions about that, make sure you hit us up on Discord. Join our Discord channel, discord.mlh.io, and we're going to have some like folks that are basically there to answer any of the questions that you have about any of the challenges or the Snowflake workshops that you saw. And it looks like we do have a question.
Yeah, you actually can use Java in Snowflake. You can use Java, Scala, Python, SQL, all of the different languages. They're all available for you in Snowflake.
Yes. Snowflake is trilingual, bilingual, whatever you want to call it. It's got a lot of different uses. It's very versatile. So whatever programming languages you prefer, if you do come across anything, as I mentioned, that you don't see being supported, let us know. And, maybe we can do some research and find out how to point you towards the right direction. We've got someone asking, are the challenges beginner friendly or for newbies? We actually have a range of challenges. So, get started with the first one. It's pretty easy. Just sign up for a Snowflake account and get that 120-day free trial. So that's going to be the first thing that you do. And some of the other challenges thereafter are going to be pretty beginner friendly, and then progress in like the level of complexity as you get through them. And as I mentioned, even if you are getting to the more complex challenges, there are 5 in total. We'll have the workshops and the recorded sessions there for you in order to reference and just basically look back at and get a step-by-step walkthrough on how to complete them.
Yeah, I think there's a question around Snowflake being open source. So Snowflake has a lot of open source capabilities. It has a lot of functionality. So Streamlit that we mentioned, where you create your Streamlit apps, that is open source. There is Apache Polaris, which is an open source Iceberg catalog that Snowflake has as well. There are a lot of connectors. You can there's public APIs that can be integrated with it. So it's not itself open source, but it integrates with a lot of open source projects, sorry.
Awesome. And for the folks that were asking about Snowflake earlier, Anna was kind enough to drop a reference link there. So definitely make sure to check that out if you are interested. And some of the open source projects, it's based on the Apple found. That's actually pretty interesting. I hadn't realized that. Yeah, so you're working off of some of the Apple open source there as well. And actually Foundation DB is based on Snowflake. So that's really interesting. All right. Any other questions, y'all? By the way, thank you again so much, Rita. This was a great session. And thank you, Anna. I know you're in chat there for the session earlier. I know a lot of folks are really excited. And we're really excited to be getting Cloud Week up and running here. We're about 3 sessions in. So hopefully everyone has been having like a great time. As I mentioned, all of the sessions are recorded. If you have any questions about what's coming up next, head over to Global Hack Week to the schedule that we have, and I'm dropping in chat here. And if you want to check out our challenges, you're just going to go ahead and go to this link here, the challenges link. And it's so hard to talk and type at the same time, but we managed to get through it. If there aren't any more questions, I think we can kind of like call it a day here. It looks like folks are starting to say thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having us. And I hope you guys were able to learn about Snowflake and follow us along. We have a great community. So check out our forums if you have questions and engage with us. We're excited you got to try this out.
Awesome. Thanks once again, Rita. Thanks for everyone at the Snowflake team. And thank you all for joining us at Global Hack Week. We will have more sessions in tune for y'all. So make sure you keep it locked in. And thank you for tuning in for this one. Yeah, we'll see y'all soon. All right.